Have you heard me say it's fine until it's not fine? Well, today you're going to hear it a lot. It sounds pretty logical, but you'd be surprised at how many people count on their puppy staying the exact same puppy forever. Based on the endless posts I get in my Facebook group, Puppy Training with Michele Lennon, my work with clients over the last 20 years, and my time working at the vet clinic, I'm here to tell you that things change. Suddenly sometimes. What was never a problem before suddenly becomes a big problem. Now, assuming that your puppy will always do or not do what he or she has always done can be dangerous, and it can get very expensive. Furthermore, it's so much harder to extinguish a new behavior than just prevent it in the first place. So trust me when I say to please avoid some of these common mistakes people make with crate training. Now, I've made many of them myself in the past before I learned the error of my ways. And I really wanted to make this video because I constantly hear puppy owners saying things like, "It's fine, we've never had a problem before," or "I've owned several dogs and we've never had any issues." Well, it's fine until it's not fine, and not every dog or every situation is the same. So I wanted to warn you before something bad happens. Now, you're definitely going to want to stay tuned to the end of this video to make sure that you get all the great info. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Your first mistake is not subscribing to this channel. Michele and Pickles McPorkchop here with How to Train a Dream Dog. Okay, we don't have all day, so I'm just going to jump right in and speed right through these. Pay close attention. And if you have any more questions about these common mistakes, just pop over to my Facebook group. Again, that's Puppy Training with Michele Lennon, and search for or ask your question over there. Now, you're going to get an answer from me or a member of my team with solid professional advice. This is definitely a subject where you want to rely on the professional, not your Aunt Sally who raised dogs back in 1980. No offense, Aunt Sally, we love you. One of the most common mistakes, and one that I saw a lot in the vet's office, is centered around bedding. Now, I know you'll probably react strongly to this one. Ready? Michele, you mean I can't give my pup a comfy, cozy bed to cuddle up in while they're in the crate? Well, no means no. At least not yet. Now, when our puppies first come home, a blanket from the breeder or a snuggle puppy with the smell of the mama dog might be helpful while we work through that transition into the home. But watch it carefully, and after about a week or two, it might be time to take it out and put it on top of the crate. Now, not all dogs are going to chew their bedding, but here I go, it's fine until it's not fine. They won't chew it until the moment they decide to chew it. And if you're not around to catch it, well, it could be hi-ho, off to the vet's office you go for an emergency blockage surgery. If that happens, you're going to need to see my video about getting your dog used to a cone. And pet insurance. And how to keep them busy after surgery. There's a lot of stuff that's just easier to avoid. Now, most pups will get past the chewing phase by a year of age, and some can tolerate having a bed in there again. Your results may vary. My Pickles here couldn't have a bed until he was about 3 years old while in the crate. Now, another crate training mistake is leaving the dog in the crate too long. Now, if you leave your puppy in her crate for too long, they could have an accident or a negative association with the crate. They could even panic, which we'll talk about in just a minute. Although it's important to leave your dog safely tucked in her crate when you leave the house, it is your job as the human to make sure that you aren't gone from the house longer than is developmentally appropriate based on your puppy's threshold. Now, dogs can hold their bladder for about an hour per month of age. This varies per dog, but it's a good estimate to start with. Now, if you leave her in there longer and she can't hold it, your pup might get a UTI and make a huge mess and just be a really unhappy dog in there. This creates a negative association with the crate. Now, even if you work full-time, having a puppy means making arrangements to meet the dog's needs. Once your dog is older and can hold her bladder for a lot longer, it's still not a good idea to keep her in there longer than a workday. And that's if her needs have been fully met before going in. Now, this means exercise, enrichment, time with her favorite humans, and some good healthy food before you leave. Yes, even if that means getting up early to get all those activities in before you go. Speaking of food, check out this video here for some great info on puppy food. And speaking of potty training, this free digital new puppy starter kit is going to be one of your BFFs as you teach your puppy to go potty outside. Now, if you don't have it yet, you're definitely going to want to get it. It's free. The link to grab it is in the description below this video. All right, the next mistake that humans often make on accident, not attending to a panicked dog. So cry it out is definitely a method you've probably heard suggested with puppies and even some babies. Now, over time, I'm actually in less favor of this method. Some crying is okay. Cry it out if accompanied by panic is not okay. It's definitely normal to have some puppy fussing when he or she first gets used to the crate, or just getting ready to rest by themselves. This fussing is part of the puppy learning to self-soothe. But if a puppy, or any age of dog, is panicking in the crate, it's time to get involved and get him out of there. If puppy panics to the point of digging and drooling and screaming and soiling, or almost hurting themselves, then we're creating a negative experience with the crate. And at that point, there's no learning going on. And this is not going to help your puppy learn to love their crate. I get it. But Michelle, what do I do if my puppy's panicking? Well, first, try to avoid it by playing a lot of those fun training games as soon as you bring your puppy home. Now, if your puppy's still having none of it, and it's getting close to the time that you need to use the crate, you might want to check out this video. This is a crate and pen setup I used with Pickles when he was really little. Now, he struggled with the crate at first too, but by giving him this enclosure, it allowed him to stay safe those first few days while he got used to the crate a little more gradually. Now, it took us a few days before he was going in happily and staying in quietly for all his naps and even overnight. Now, the most important thing you can do is work on this as often as possible when the puppy first comes home. Now, if you're still struggling with crate training after watching a few of my other videos, my online course will get you where you need to be. The link is in the description below this video. Let's talk about temperature here. Do you think it's too cold? Or maybe too hot? So dogs' natural body temperature is just a few degrees warmer than a human. So they can tolerate a little cooler temperatures than we are comfortable with. If you really think it's cold, you can put a heating pad on low under the corner of the crate, on the outside, right? So I'm just using this as an example. Putting it under the crate allows the warmth to transfer into the crate, but not risk the dog being too warm. By putting it in the corner of the crate, you're allowing the dog to move closer to the heat source or further away as he's comfortable. Now, in my Facebook group, I recently saw a comment of somebody suggesting a hot water bottle in their crate. Do you remember what I said at the beginning of this video? It's fine until it's not fine. Now, that hot water bottle could be a chew toy in a hot minute, and then we've got a real risk of a blockage. The hot water bottle could also be too hot and burn the dog. Now, if you think your pup might be too hot, consider a fan, which also works well for white noise. Now, don't point it at the crate, but instead point it at the wall behind or near the crate. This creates airflow and can keep things a little more comfortable in and around the crate. Now, more information on keeping pups comfortable in all types of weather can be found in this video. It's a popular one when the weather changes. Pro tip: if your dog is feeling a little colder, they likely will be sleeping in a ball. Now, if they're feeling a little warmer, they're going to be all stretched out. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to make any changes, but you can get some good information by watching their body language. Now, recently, we were chatting with a student enrolled in my pro level of my course. One of her puppies was struggling with the crate, even after doing all the crate training games. So we put on our puppy detective caps, and we really started to look at what might be going on in her home. And we determined that the crate was by a drafty window, which was preventing the pup from sleeping well. And the student moved the crate away from the window and bingo, the pup slept much better. Sometimes the best solution is the easiest one. Next tip. All right, here we go. Collars and harnesses and clothes, nope, nope, and nopety nope, not allowed in the crate. One of my former dogs got her jaw stuck on her collar when I was gone. I actually had to cut it off when I got home because it was just too tight, stuck in her mouth. How in the world she did that, I will never know, but you can bet I have never put a dog in a crate with a collar on since. I could have lost her. She was actually freaking out when I got home, and for good reason. I felt terrible. Puppies should be naked as a jaybird when they go in that crate. And if you're worried about getting them out quick as a bunny for those potty breaks, well, you're just gonna have the leash attached to the collar and near the crate, and you're gonna be just fine. Just like this. It's already attached, ready to go. Oh, and any type of clothing is definitely not okay in the crate. Risk is high, reward is low. Just say no. I've seen a lot more posts in my Facebook group about Littermates lately, or people who are raising 2 dogs or 2 puppies around the same age at the same time. I personally think that's a huge challenge, but if you're up to it, go for it. Now, if you want to know what you're in for before you do it, check out this video here. Whatever you do, just don't put 2 dogs in one crate. Even if you think that they would work out well together, it's 100% not okay. Not now, not ever. This is a true example of it's fine until it's not fine. Dogs need their own space to help build up their own confidence and independence. But more importantly, they could suddenly feel that they have to compete for space while in there. And this could turn really dangerous really fast. This actually happened with one of my students. 2 dogs were raised together for many years, and one day they had a fight because they were in the same crate. One dog was seriously injured and the other one lost an eye. Now this situation was so bad, it could have easily been avoided though. Now if you do have 2 dogs and 2 crates, just make sure they aren't too close to each other. Now you might ask, should they be in the same room or separate rooms? Yes. Wait, what? What I mean is, your puppies might do better if the crates are in the same room, but not touching. Or they might do better if the crates are in separate rooms. Your puppies will let you know which one works better for them. In my online course, 30 Days to Puppy Perfection, we have a great resource about becoming a dog detective. My students use it a lot in trying to determine their pup's preferences or what might be going on that's causing distress or frustration or overwhelm. So you've heard me say no bedding in the crate, no collars, no harnesses, or no clothing. Well, Michelle, what can I put in the crate for my dog to do? Keep in mind that the crate is actually designed to help your puppy rest and relax. So we aren't really looking for a ton of activities for her to do in there and stay busy. But a few that could be good in there might be a frozen filled Kong or a West Paw Topple, a Benebone that is appropriately sized, a Nylabone that is appropriately sized, a Snuggle Puppy, if your puppy's still very young and needs a little help with transitioning into your home. Those are all some things that I recommend. No water, no food, no stuffed toys. Water will just make a mess and lead to a puppy with a filled bladder and no place to go but in the crate. And stuffed toys will become unstuffed and possibly ingested very quickly. Sorry, Charlie. I know I'm a party pooper, but believe me, that vet bill will ruin your party faster than I ever will. Alright, I have a pop quiz for you. I get these questions a lot. Would you consider these crate training mistakes? Alright, what about, can I have 2 crates for my dog? Should I put my crate in an active area? Should I cover the crate? Should I let my puppy sleep outside the crate? And the answer is yes or no. These are not necessarily crate training mistakes. These are crate training decisions that you're going to want to make based on your puppy's preferences and overall attitude towards the crate. 2 crates might be okay, but your pup won't generalize them as the same. So you'll need to make sure she is content with both of them in both locations. Now, if you don't mind double the exposure and double the desensitization process, I don't mind if you use 2 crates. Active area, isolated area. Either one might be fine or might be a mistake. You need to judge your own puppy on how well he or she does in both places. Give it a try in each place for a few days and see how she does. Some dogs like to be part of the action. Others, they need a little isolation in order to rest. Just make sure your puppy isn't smack dab in the middle of tons of activity where he or she is never going to get a chance to settle and rest. Now, what about should you cover the crate? To this one, I say probably. Most puppies that I've met do better with a cover over the top of their crate, especially for naps and overnights. Now, a few students have told me that their puppies did better with the crate uncovered. You'll know which is the way your puppy prefers pretty quickly. Now, all of my dogs need their crate covered. If you decide to do the cover crate, make sure it's the front and sides and you leave the back open for airflow. And as for the dog sleeping outside of the crate, that's okay, but later, when you're in the throes of crate training, using sleepy time in your favor and getting that pup in the crate before he falls asleep outside of the crate is pretty important. Once he or she's older and has a rock solid understanding that going in the crate is no problem, then it's going to be fine to relax a little and allow that puppy to snooze in different places. Now, one final question I get a lot. What if your dog isn't walking into their crate on their own? Is it a mistake to lure them in? Instead of luring, which is good when you literally first introduce the crate to an 8-week-old puppy, give a reward when the dog goes in. Now the difference really is timing. Luring means the treat shows up first. Rewarding means the cue is given first, then the treat is offered as a way to say, "Way to go, you did it." My dogs took years before they went into the crate on their own. That doesn't mean they don't like it. They will happily go in when I ask them to. Just recently, Pickle started going into his crate to take a snooze without being asked. It's okay if they don't go in on their own, but make sure it's a positive enough place that they do want to go in when you ask. Now, if you're still struggling with that, again, my online course might be that next stop for you on your puppy training tour. In the comments below, tell me if you've made any of these common mistakes. No shame, we are here to educate, so you can be honest. And don't forget to subscribe because I've got a lot more great videos coming up to help you with your furry friend.